Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. With the War Within beta arriving in just a handful of days, many players are about to embark on the very first preview of the next expansion. Not only will players be able to test out a bunch of dungeons, test out their classes and try all the different hero specs, but you may even decide on which classes you're looking to play for the next expansion, either as a new main or as an alt on the side. And as everybody gets to solidify some of their potential choices going forward, Mr. Pandaria Remix is probably one of the easiest ways to level a brand new character in prep for the War Within. And recently players have begun to reveal certain secrets regarding how to level quickly in MOP Remix, which allows for the fastest character leveling but also some amazing bronze gains for very little time spent. So if you're looking to level new characters in prep for War Within, this guide is going to go over the fastest method for leveling a new character within MOP Remix. If you guys enjoy guides like these, make sure to follow the channel. Otherwise, let's dive right in. So some background knowledge before we really get into the actual leveling process. Why do we even use trial characters in order to level quickly? That is because trial characters have crazy scaling power since they are locked to a certain level. Like on my level 70 Death Knight that I leveled just today, I am fairly low item level. In fact, some random mob outside of TM Monastery is actually going to be able to do more damage to me than I can to it, as the mob literally has 3 times my health. So unless you are keeping up with the character and are maintaining all of their gear, the higher level you get, the more item levels you require in order to kind of match the scaling of your current level content. Though trial characters are perpetually stuck at level 20, this allows them to utilize the unique low level scaling in order to essentially overpower that content. So we'll be using a low level trial character for group stuff in order to level quickly, but also to collect bronze very rapidly. Bronze that you obtain just for leveling a character, but also all the other bronze that you can get from scrapping your items and looting certain bosses. To add a trial account to an active Blizzard account is fairly easy. In the description of this video, I have a link to a support article, and down below you'll have a link to the games and subscription for your account, where you can add a brand new World of Warcraft account to the same Battle.net account. This allows you to run 2 instances of World of Warcraft since they're technically 2 different accounts, one as a trial account and one as your main account. And then all you have to do for this leveling purpose is to actually set up and level a character to get them ready for level carrying. Now, when it comes to setting up your trial class, there's a couple of good options. I think the best choices are going to end up being between Arcane Mage, Holy Priest, and Guardian Druid. All 3 of these class specs in particular have fantastic AoE output, and they can clear the content rather quickly. I think if you end up playing healer or a Guardian Druid, you'll probably get better keys for dungeons, since tanks and healers generally get slightly faster queues than DPS classes. But if you're going to be leveling a couple of tanks or a couple of healers, then you could easily play your Arcane Mage if you want to play that as a trial option. Now, the biggest part of setting up a trial character will be trying to gear them out in the best gear it possibly can that fits their item level, and keeping up with your gear in terms of its upgrades and trying to keep them in top shape. It's going to be pretty easy since you're capped at level 20. One of the things that's going to matter a lot, however, is your choices of gems. For your meta gem, there's a couple of good options, but Chi simply gives you the most amount of movement speed to be able to get through dungeons rather quickly, and you're going to be really flying through dungeon content. So the faster you can get through them, the better, honestly. In your mobility gems for your cogwheel, I chose Roll. You can go with Blink or really anything that grants you mobility. I just felt Roll has a short enough cooldown where you can get through the content also a little bit faster. As for the actual damage gems for your Tinker gems, there's a couple of options. If you end up playing Arcane Mage or anything that does good AoE damage, Vindication is generally going to be your go-to if you can't directly heal anybody in your party. If you play a tank or a healer, you can skip out on Vindication. Otherwise, as Arcane Mage, you probably should pick up Vindication just so you can heal everybody around you. If you do end up playing tank or a healer, then Searing Light is generally one of the more recommended options, since this gem allows your healing to be converted back into damage. And if you end up healing somebody that's higher level of you, like if you're level 20 healing a level 70, your heals will actually upscale to them, which will then upscale the damage portion of the Searing Light, which kind of allows you to one-shot bosses here and there. Besides this, you want to pick up the best DPS gems that you can find. Things like Wildfire are perfectly acceptable, things like Victory Fire are also just fine, as well as Explosive Barrage. Just about any gem that deals AoE damage are going to be your best friend in this situation. And for prismatic gems, this will really depend on you. If you're playing a healer, in most cases your mastery is going to focus on increasing your healing power, so you'll probably want to skip out on it. prioritizing versatility, haste, and critical strike. The same thing can be done with tanks, but mastery does at least grant you attack power, so that can be useful. For DPS, however, your mastery is going to directly, in most cases, increase your overall damage. So this one will kind of depend on the class, but as a healer, just try to avoid mastery as best as possible. And as a trial character, you also have access to any of the accessories that your main account might have earned. So if you picked up things like Time Runner's Ring on your main, or the seal, or the beacon, or the idol, you'll be able to easily procure them over in any of the bazaars. Just gotta find the gem procurement vendor and then buy all of these items for 10 bronze, which is fairly easy to get. So now we can get into the actual strategy and the pathing you should take in order to maximize your experience gains. First things first, we'll start off by doing heroic dungeons until the leveling character is at level 25. All you have to do is group up both of your characters together and queue dungeons at the same time. What you'll do in dungeons is you'll just AFK with your leveling character at the start of the instance, and you'll primarily will play your trial carry character through the entire dungeon. All you gotta do is run through it as fast as possible, blow everything up, and pull most of the mobs towards the bosses. And you'll do this until that leveling character is at level 25 minimum. As a leveling character, you're not going to be doing any of the looting. Just let all of the rewards from every single one of these bosses go into your mailbox, but don't open your mailbox early. After you hit level 25, then you want to run Mogashan Vaults on that leveling character. Before you run the raid, however, you do want to upgrade all of the gear on that character and get it to as high of an item level for that level. When you do the normal Mogashan Vaults run as a low level character, you should scale pretty well for that content, so nothing should be too challenging. But at the end of each of the boss fights, make sure you're not looting any of these bosses, and you'll also want to make sure that your auto loot is disabled. If anything you want to loot from these bosses is maybe the experience upgrade for your cloak, as well as bronze or even threads for your cloak, but you don't want to loot anything else at all. Skipping the looting on the bosses is extremely important for this method to work properly, so if you are looting, make sure you're not looting everything at once, just the very specific cloak upgrades. And after a full run of Mogashan Vaults, you're back to doing heroic dungeons until level 35. Same as before, play as the trial character in order to get through the dungeons quickly until your leveling character hits level 35. Afterwards, you'll head into Heart of Fear on normal. Before Heart of Fear, before, you'll want to upgrade the gear on your character just to make sure you're scaling well with the content. Join for Heart of Fear, and just like in Mogashan Vaults, once you kill bosses, make sure you're very careful with looting them. You definitely should loot the XP upgrades for your cloak, but everything else can go into your mailbox afterwards. After Heart of Fear, you'll want to do heroic dungeons until your leveling character hits level 41 specifically. Once you're level 41, upgrade all of your gear, and then go do a Terrace of Eternal Springs normal. Same as before, full run, loot only the experience upgrades for your cloak, but don't loot anything else on these bosses. After your Terrace of Eternal Springs, all you have to do is walk up to the mailbox and then loot any leftover XP upgrades that you might have gotten from any of the boxes, which is somewhat of a rare drop that you can sometimes find when completing heroic dungeons. And after you scoured every one of these boxes for experience upgrades for your cloak, then all you have to do is hit open all and then stand there collecting experience. Now, the amount of stuff that you would have had loaded up from your mailbox is going to be quite a lot, and there's a good chance your bag is going to get filled, so from time to time you may want to stop opening mail, go scrap all the gear you're not going to be using, go through all the different thread upgrades, and do some gem management. But after you open all of the items from your mailbox, you should have enough experience to hit level 70, unless you're like me and messed up and ended up looting by accident a couple of the earlier raid bosses. If you did mess up, then you should at least be fairly close to level 70. All you have to do is hop back on a trial character, group up with your leveling character, and then do a few more heroic dungeons until that character hits level 70. At the end of the run, make sure you also turn in the quest over at the upgrade vendor, because that is how you're going to be able to get you 3,000, 7,000, and 30,000 bronze just for gaining levels on a fresh new tune. And with that, that's going to be how you can level a character, but also how you can collect about 40,000 bronze. Now, for my very first time leveling this way, it took about 4 hours to get a character from level 10 to level 70, though players have been able to cut this time down to 2 hours and even 1 hour if you end up having a few friends that can maybe carry you through a quick, normal version of each one of these raids. So your experience will definitely vary depending if you're doing this all on your own, pugging through groups, or if you can maybe get a friend to help you through a few of the raid instances. But otherwise, this is generally a very quick way to level new characters if you're trying to get a bunch of ults prep for War Within, or if you simply just want to farm a bunch of bronze that you can then use to spend over at the bazaar if you're still behind on some of the collectibles, mods, and cosmetics. But with that, that's going to be one of the faster methods that you can use in order to level a bunch of characters for Miss Pandaria Remix. As always, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope all of you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about this leveling guide in the comments down below, and are you going to be utilizing this method yourself in order to level a handful of characters? Also, if you are leveling characters, are you going to be doing them mostly for bronze, or are you going to be utilizing this method to actually get a couple of ults ready for the War Within? And which characters are you looking to level through this method specifically? Let me know all of those thoughts in the comments down below. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.